Hey everybody, it's Ray here from City Fan TV, and I'm joined by Bernard. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm chirpy as a magpie, mate. I'm well happy today. Yeah, I think you said to clip the wings. I put on one for sorrow for the old magpies. So there you go.
One for sorrow, and there's no joy. Well, no, give them their credit. Obviously, guys, if you haven't guessed, we're here to talk about Man City beating Newcastle last night by 1-0 at the Etihad Stadium in Manchester. And yeah, there's one for sorrow. There's no joy for Newcastle, even though some of their fans, they were quite pleased with the result because
I would be if I was a Newcastle fan. It's certainly better than some of the scores you've suffered over the years at the Etihad. And we're happy because it's early in the season. We've won 2 games on the trot, which is pretty impressive for us, even City. So yeah, I mean, George just come up to me, a total straight. I don't know who he was. I was just stood there waiting for my lad. He starts chatting away. Then, what do you think? I'm not the biggest fans of George. I'm not there. So, I don't really like him that much, in fairness. But I sort of chatted to him. I said, "Oh well, we'll take Eddie out for you in a couple of years when Pep goes, sort of thing." But yeah, why not? I don't think they should be disappointed. I thought both teams played extremely good, not overly entertaining, but a good football match. For 2 good teams.
Yeah. I'm going to fire some hopefully rapid questions at you, Bernard, just to get your thoughts. What was the atmosphere like before the game, during the game? Because
brilliant. There was a little bit of trouble where I was inside the ground because guys were trying to jib in, get through the turnstiles 2 at a time. That's because obviously it's a Saturday night. Most of them have probably been on the sauce all day. So, there's at least one guy was manhandled to the turnstiles by 3 stewards about 20 minutes before kickoff. Yeah. And there's a couple of coppers waiting outside. So they reversed the turnstile to put him into their hands. So yeah, it was obviously, as you'd expect, Saturday night kickoff. Atmosphere tremendous. Geordies were all right. We could hardly hear the away fans where we are anyway. We're noisy, so they were. I could hear odd things. Great atmosphere. And then going back home at night as well. I mean, I was a bit like you, obviously for different reasons. I was a bit miffed because we had if you got a Metro season card, you used to have a fast track thing.
Yeah.
And they've knocked it on the head, obviously, with all these improvements. They're probably claiming there's no room. There certainly is room to have one. So I've bought this season card now, and I didn't, looking at the queue, I didn't want a queue. So I ended up walking down the canal back to Piccadilly, which I used to do in the past anyway. Yeah. And you could hear from Ashton New Road, you could hear the City fans singing all the way down. And that if we've won a cup or a semi-final, I'd expect that. But, all right, we won 3 recently. But the atmosphere went over after the game as well. And even on the station, you could hear City fans singing. So there's a step of joy in our souls, I think, at the moment.
So have you paid for this ticket? And you paid good hard cash for this ticket?
Yeah, 71 quid. All right, I appreciate it's cheaper than getting there, but there was the fast track thing, so I didn't have to go with all the rabble.
But did you know?
No one told us. So I was going to write to obviously go to City Help. Obviously, they're connected. I know they'll blame the Metro, but I'm just going to put it on later when I get a chance and say, thanks for letting us know, because I wasted about 20 minutes starting to queue up and thought, oh, sod this, I'll walk. And I just, I lost about 20 minutes of my time. But no, not good enough really, but hey, it is what it.
Mate, don't worry, mate. They'll apologise to you. They'll apologise.
Yeah.
Like they did to me for messing up my ticket last night after I'm not going to go into it. It'll just make me frustrated. Bernard's already set me off this morning by asking, but I didn't. I got to the ground and my ticket didn't work because they flogged it off, which they weren't supposed to do. Anyway, that's a different story. Let's move on to quickly line up any major surprises. I mean, the one for me.
Not really. I mean, obviously, I had Bernardo and Stones in my 11, so obviously I was 2 out there. So I've got 8 in total. So I was a bit surprised Aki wasn't starting. Whether he's perhaps not fully fit, I don't know. I mean, that for me, it worked. It seemed to work fine again with the Kanji moving into that. It did a lot better than he did against Sevilla. He sort of adapted a bit quicker this time. But yeah, that was it really. No surprise apart from I thought Aki might have started.
Yeah, me too. I thought Aki, but someone said, he's just come back from a minor injury, so maybe he's starting 2 games on the bounce. And we've got Gvardiol. So So
it didn't worry me. Given the, I didn't think, oh God, what, you know. Obviously, the bench, as we know, no one's done an analysis of how much the bench was worth, how much the bench cost us.
just over 100, because you got Phillips there at 45. You've got Aki there at 40. I'm not including the one, but 46. Ortega was what, 12? I can't remember. So, and then
it's not bad, is it? But I did say to my lad, if we need something to change, if we need to chase the game, there's not a lot there, is there?
Well, you got Peroni and Gomez, so it'd have been 125, 130 million. It's probably still more than Burnley was playing their whole existence.
It just shows us once we get 2 or 3 players out, we're down to the bare bones.
Well, the fact that we got 4 kids, you know, on the bench that we're looking at who we're going to play, you know, there was no one of any stature to come on. I think that was the thing for me.
And that's why Pep didn't make any substitutions. He couldn't risk it. He couldn't risk, you know, someone said, why didn't he pull Rodri off? What does that say about Phillips? I said, well, it's not to do with Phillips. Don't. At the end of the day, a very good team. We're not going to make, Pep's not going to make substitutions. We've got 8 days rest before the next game. So unless someone picks up an injury in the last 10 minutes, which can happen in training, as we know, I'm not worried about him. Pep made the right decision not to make any substitutions for me.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If you're 3-0 up and 10 minutes to go, you can take Rodri off. I still won't put Phillips on, but you can take Rodri off and rest him for 10 minutes.
I mean, someone on social media as well. I mean, why? I mean, they see this with other club supporters. They'll say something about their club and then slag us off. There's, you know, they'll make a comment about City. And this guy made a comment about Gvardiol and Kovacic, and he said, "Well, you know, they've just joined and look how they're playing compared to Phillips." So don't bring Phillips into it. I mean, credit the guys, Gvardiol and Kovacic, but don't start bringing Phillips into the equation. What's he got to do with Phillips? I mean, I'm not interested. Those guys played very well last night. Phillips wasn't on the pitch. I don't care. But you see that from opposing fans. I hate it when our own fans are doing it to our own players.
You should have asked him, did you see Mangala play against Chelsea? Mangala had a great game against Chelsea. We thought we've got some player.
Legend.
Yeah. And he ended up as a leg end. Yeah, I know about that. How in Newcastle, how did they play? How did they fare? Do you think their fans will go home happy?
Yeah, I think they said they were happy. I think if you look at the 2-0 last season, I don't think they were any better than that. But it's early doors, isn't it? I mean, it's early doors in the season. They lacked. I looked at my match report for last year, the 2-0 victory, and it just said they lacked a bit of oomph up front. And I think they've still got that problem up front. I think I'm grateful that they've got rid of that Maximan now. I hated him. Not that I wouldn't ever have him at City, but I just hated him against us. He seemed to sort of terrify us in the same way Traore used to for Wolverhampton Wanderers. So I'm glad they got rid of him. They were playing very well last night, but they just lack something. They do lack a little. And Pope, I don't mind Pope. I think he's probably the best English goalkeeper, but yeah, I think they're not going to win big titles with him in goal, I don't think.
Well, he's used to letting in a lot of goals at Etihad when he used to play for Burnley. Losing 1-0 isn't too bad, but I think they lacked a little bit of creativity. Yeah. But I'm not going to blame their players because, hey, they stuffed Villa 5-1.
They had them in the second half. They had 5 fresh pairs of legs they brought, or 6, I think, in the end, if I remember rightly. And it worked because it increased the impetus. But as you said, there wasn't particularly any more creativity with it.
How did they get 6 pairs of legs on? Is someone an octopus? What was I going to say?
If you think about the chances they had 1/2 chance where obviously Gvardiol was turned into Diaz. I mean, it's like having these two. Obviously, they're just carbon copies football-wise. By the looks of it, I say it's early doors with Gvardiol. Of course, it is. But you couldn't Edison apart from. I mean, he had a little save to make in the one. I think the second half, but they didn't create real goal-scoring opportunities.
Yeah. And what I was going to say, I've remembered it now, was they didn't create too much, but that wasn't because they're not creative. Because we saw against Villa, they are. Give credit to City. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Give credit to City.
Absolutely.
Right, quick player watch. Just a very, very quick summation on these players. Foden.
Well, 9.5 out of 10. I give him my player ratings. I think that I saw on the stats that He created 7 goal-scoring chances. All right, most of them were for Haaland, who the old lummox couldn't get his feet sorted out last night. But yeah, I mean, absolutely stupendous, absolutely wonderful. I know there's going to be a separate one on him, but blog on him. But fantastic last night, fantastic.
You had me at that was it. That's all I needed about Foden. Grealish, my man.
Defensively, yes. I mean, I'm not gonna, defensively he came back, he battled, but he's gone back to in that first season. What my big criticism was when he's putting crosses in or shots and he knows they're gonna get blocked. Me and you know they're gonna get blocked watching on from TV or in the stands. We know it's nothing's good. It's either all right, we might get a corner out of it, but we very rarely get a deflection into the goal or something. So he's fallen into that trap again rather than sort of distribute it to someone else if he can't get through. He's just trying too much to do that. He's trying to create too much. And it's disappointing. Again, he buys us fouls, which he's bound to, although that referee last night doesn't like to give him any fouls, does he? But again, not great.
Yeah, my disappointment with Grealish is when we give him the ball early, he's one-on-one with the defender. And he's jockeying, he's shimmying this and that.
Take him on, just go for it, mate.
Just go for it. Absolutely. Because if you go for it, you're in the box. If he fouls you, all right, maybe not with that.
We know we can do it. We know we can do it. So just do it, mate. Just don't. I'm sure Pep is not going to bollock him for having with say a one. He gets those opportunities, but the time he thinks about it and jinx, there's 3 or 4 on him.
Yeah, absolutely. You bang on. Haaland, I think you mentioned him. He had 3 good chances to score, in my opinion. And another couple where he just couldn't control the ball as he was.
He was unlucky on a couple where it took a deflection or a toe poke out of his way. But his holding play up was 50-50. One time he did really well. The other time he looked like an idiot. He's wasted like me trying to play. Having said that, I was pretty good at holding the ball.
You're 65. Give me credit.
But next week he'll have a 9 out of 10 performance, and that's what we're going to get with Haaland. He's going to, we have to accept it, and I'm going to accept my big lummox. He's a big lummox whether he scores or he doesn't.
Look, he got his 2 goals last week. Nothing this week. He's still averaging 1 a game. In the league, he's still averaging more than 1 goal per game. I mean, it's ridiculous. So you can't criticize him for the games he doesn't score. Well, maybe a little bit. Gvardiol, how did he do?
Yeah. I mean, as I say, just for that stop, but it was like certainly 2-on-1. It could have been 3-on-1 at that stage where Rodri had made that error. Poor old Simon Pekowski put it down to Diaz. So I think he was. But having said that, as I said, I mean, it's only because I was behind him and saw the number 24. Otherwise, I would have probably thought it was Diaz myself when I was watching it live. Far better. Come on, leaps and bounds from the Sevilla game he played into his debut there. Leaps and bounds from there. And him and Diaz, we've got a centre-half partnership for a while, I think, there. Wonderful.
Yeah, he looked good.
As I say, as long as you don't do a Mangala, that was it. That was.
No, but he looked confident. He looked.
Why not? Why wouldn't you be playing alongside quality players? It's bound to bring, give you that confidence. If he was playing alongside a couple of the young lads, Taylor Harwood, Bellis and stuff. Yeah, I mean, but playing alongside Diaz and Walker, who was a machine on that right hand side, and Akanji and Kovacic. I mean,
last one is Kovacic. Sorry, Kovacic. How did?
I mean, the thing is, Rodri had a poor game. I think Rodri didn't play great yesterday, but. Did he have time to? Because you had Kovacic, you had Akanji buzzing around him. Kovacic was storming forward. And, he does remind me of Gundo, certain aspects of him, obviously. But, I mean, again, although a couple of players, Haaland, Grealish, didn't have the greatest game last night, a great team performance against a very good Newcastle team performance, just lacking a little bit up front, I think, for them.
Yeah. Last 2 questions. Do we need more players?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it only takes... I mean, listen, Foden was fantastic, but we know injury-wise, health-wise, he's not... He's a bit like John Stones, and he'll be absolutely superb when he plays, but we can't... We've got to rely on him for the next 2 or 3... Well, 3-4 months. He's going to get injured. We're going to struggle. So, I mean, we could see we're down to the bare bones last night, and Foden seems to be the one to step into the breach for KDB's replacement at the moment, with the other guys working hard around him as well, an easy creative guy. So we've got to keep him fit, but on that basis, definitely desperate for some creativity.
Yeah. And finally, can City win the league again?
On that basis, yes. I mean, it's a good start, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure we've got 6 points out of 6 before over previous seasons where we've not been great. But you think back to that where we got stuck by Leicester 5-2 that time early doors, and then we went on to win the title. We've got to a good start, and that's what we need because we've got reasonably easy games for the first few. So we need maximum for me, whether we'll get maximum points. Certainly when you start to get to October, where we've got some tough games in October, haven't we? I think after the break, we need maximum points, and we've done what we need to do. Sheffield United away next, obviously, so you've got to go for maximum points there, and then it's the break and West Ham away. I think when we after that, so yeah, of course we can. I've not seen anything. I might have been a bit worried. I'll be happy with the 1 or 2 additions. But at this point in time, if Newcastle are going to be up there, which they are, then I'm quite happy with that.
We'll be there. I think we'll be there or thereabouts. And for right now, I think that's good enough to be there or thereabouts come the turn of the year. And we'll see what happens then. Bernard, thank you so much, mate. Have a good day.